How's it going? I'm back with another update to the SuperMega situation. This time it seems like Ryan McGee has released what I would assume is his last piece on the situation. This to me is interesting, I guess, and relevant enough for a video, just because Ryan in his response video was very contrite. He didn't really work to debunk any of the accusations against him and seemed to focus mainly on taking accountability.
I had inappropriate communications with fans while in a long-term committed relationship. While technically these actions are between two consenting adults, I know that there is no sorry to rectify the damage I've done with this because I deserve this. What I did is inexcusable and inappropriate, and I am sorry to Lex. It took us too long.
However, he did expressly deny doing a few things, with seemingly the one that bothered him the most being the accusation that he called his friend Daniel a coward for committing a suicide.
To address these allegations head on about me making fun of the side of my best friend, I just want to state that it's just untrue. The person making these claims never knew Daniel. They definitely were not a part of the group that experienced the trauma of losing him, and I think, honestly, it is disrespectful to bring him up as a weapon. I felt like he was just brought into the situation for drama's sake to try to hurt me or Matt or hurt our image. I have done enough shit to tarnish my image, but I will not stand by and let someone talk lies about the way I talked or treated my trauma in regards to Daniel.
Daniel obviously being one of his best friends and the person that he ran Syndigo with, the channel that really kind of was like the foundation of both Matt and Ryan's sketch comedy careers. I remember watching Syndigo, specifically their collaborations with Markiplier. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I was obviously sad, to hear about what happened at the time. And yeah, I specifically remember this video, ASMR in the Kitchen, being one that I thought was hilarious at the time.
Hey man, I need you to taste something real quick. Oh, what's cooking? Good looking? Ooh, little roasted vegetables never hurt anybody.
So, something I wanted to address. I really don't want to be writing this, but I feel like I need to address something that's been eating away at my mental state. A few months ago, some individuals came forward with their issues with me, Matt, and our channel, SuperMega. While I've acknowledged these criticisms in a response video, and still believe that some of their points are valid, there was one topic brought to the table that's been weighing heavily on my mind. Before I begin, I want to say I am in no way trying to take away from Lex's coming forward to speak about her essay by our former channel artist, Dawn. Diminishing credibility for that is not the goal of this statement, and I ask others not to use it as a tool to do so. Back in July, it was claimed by multiple people that Matt and I didn't care about suicide and would apparently make cold-hearted jokes making fun of our late friend Daniel for committing suicide. I want to clarify that these accusations are false. In my response video back in July, I defended myself against these claims.
The sole focus of all of this should have been about the support that Lex needed and about how we mishandled the situation. All of the attention should have been on Lex. Why Daniel was brought into it, I have no idea. I just wish personally he was left out of this completely.
But, unfortunately, those who spread them have still not taken responsibility for dragging Daniel into the conversation. So here Ryan is referring to Lex Updog, Layton, and Ethan is online, all three of whom have made this claim against Ryan that they have witnessed firsthand his callousness toward Daniel's death.
But Matt and Ryan make jokes about Daniel.
So, no, they don't care about suicide. They only give a shit about themselves and who they can make jokes of that are under them that they can get away with.
To those who are unaware, Daniel was my best friend back from when I lived in South Carolina. We were in some of the same classes in high school, as well as both being a part of our school's broadcast journalism program.
And became good friends, and we moved into the college years becoming best friends.
He was known to have an extra edge and awareness with his sense of humor, which showed in many of the creative projects he would make. It was humor where we found we clicked.
I would tell him that even though he was younger than I was, he always felt like an older brother. He just had that intelligence about him. He was a very smart guy. He was very talented.
After high school, we created the sketch comedy channel Syndigo, eventually leading to an opportunity for us to move to California and do YouTube full time. This is referring to Markiplier, basically hiring them to help out with his own sketch comedy. We moved to Los Angeles in February of 2015 and spent the next few months settling into our new surroundings. Sadly, on September 16th of 2015, I found Daniel in his room unresponsive due to an apparent suicide attempt.
While Matt was in South Carolina and Mark was at work, I found Daniel unresponsive in his room due to an apparent suicide attempt.
He would not survive this attempt, passing away surrounded by loved ones on September 18th, 2015. The claims regarding Matt and I disrespecting Daniel's memory were propagated by Lex Updog in her now unlisted YouTube video that was posted July 27th, 2023. Where she claims Matt called Daniel a coward multiple times.
Daniel, their friend Daniel, Matt's like at least twice in front of me, separate times we'll hang out with him, has called Daniel a coward. So no, they don't care about suicide.
And that Matt and I don't give a shit about suicide.
They don't give a shit about suicide.
She was the first person to mention Daniel. Leighton, who, if you've seen any of my videos on this situation, you know Leighton, in a now deleted Twitch stream that aired July 28th of 2023, where he stated we would make the actual act of Daniel's suicide the punchline of disgusting jokes.
But, you know, like if someone makes a comment about someone dying or something being dead or anything like that, like, you know, one of the guys would just like yell off in the back and be like, oh, like Daniel. Such a clear fucking put down on something so sensitive. And they did it.
NickisnotGreen, also friend of the channel, in a video that was uploaded to his YouTube channel on July 29th of 2023, where he uses a random post from a fan on the SuperMega subreddit as a segue to talk about Daniel.
I live near a place where Matt was playing live and I almost got a ticket, but I'm glad I didn't. After all the awful stuff that Lex went through and that shit that he allegedly said about Daniel, I'm really disgusted. What this fan is referencing there is a close friend of Ryan and Matt who used to be a part of this channel, Syndigo. Daniel was the third member of this YouTube channel and he ended up taking his life a number of years ago. And despite the fact that this seemed to be a big turning point in Matt and Ryan's career, and it seems to be something that affected them even to this day,
while also highlighting the claims Leighton and Lex made.
Lex and, as we'll learn in the future, other former employees of SuperMega have claimed that Matt had made a lot of jokes about what happened to Daniel, and even called him a coward at some point for what he did.
And lastly, Ethan is online. In a now deleted YouTube livestream that aired July 30th of 2023, in which Lex also appears, where he confidently states that we called Daniel a coward, as he's reading a SuperMega apology bingo card on the SuperMega subreddit.
SuperMega apology bingo. Ryan doesn't say a word, deactivating their Twitter social media accounts for mental health, defending calling Daniel a coward. I think they'll just say that didn't happen when it did.
This is the same stream where Ethan displays a subscriber count for our channel, celebrating the loss of our audience, while encouraging those watching to unsubscribe from SuperMega.
Yeah, there's a new website that gives live counts of YouTube subscribers, which is pretty awesome. It's funny. They had over 1 million, yes they did, and they've lost it. Oops. Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's when SuperMega hits 930,000.
After Matt and I released our responses on July 31st of 2023, Lex went into the SuperMega Patreon Discord server to correspond with our fans in the general chat about the situation. Within these messages, she mentions Leighton went a bit too hard on his July 28 livestream. She partly excuses this behavior by pointing out Leighton's borderline personality disorder diagnosis and stating he was manic due to us firing him back in March. A few weeks after posting in our Discord, Lex unlisted her original video, my experience with Don DRRR and SuperMega, adding an edit to the description. Again, I have a full video on this if, you want to know the full context of that. Within this edit, she states that an individual, Leighton, used her trust in them as a platform to say a lot of really not okay things. She throws Leighton under the bus while failing to take accountability for how she said some of those exact same things, and was the first one to do so. They don't care about suicide. They don't give a shit about suicide. Those are her exact words, after repeating Daniel's name to the camera twice. Her only proof that I didn't care being that I was quiet or uncomfortable around discussions pertaining to suicide. This is something that I thought was also weird when I was, initially unpacking Lex's allegations. And over time, I started to realize, pieced together kind of the information, because it was all very scattered and confusing, that Lex probably received a lot of information secondhand from Leighton, who is now known to have been, you know, a malicious actor in this whole scenario pretty well. Someone who was much more focused on damaging SuperMega and the members than on being fully truthful about events as they unfolded. It's likely that Leighton, you know, poisoned the ears of Lex and Ethan, saying that SuperMega, you know, says the M word, that they called Daniel a coward, all this stuff, and that Ethan and Lex, you know, went with this conveniently. We obviously don't have proof proving that Ryan didn't act this way, but even if there is, it's, in my view, up to the individuals who were involved in a situation as fucked up as this, you know, how they kind of cope with the loss of a friend. I think most, you know, people would agree with that, right? It's your fucking friend. They would know how best to respond or react and how to feel. Yeah. It was just extra ammo, basically, that they threw in to bury the hatchet and make these guys look like fucking pieces of shit. Anyway, Ryan continues. She never apologizes for unnecessarily bringing Daniel into the conversation. The only thing I could find was in the edited description where she says, "My intent was to get my message about Dawn immediately completed plus believed, and talk about what happened after that unfortunately led to me seeing him again, which is what led to a lot of interpersonal chaos that I learned wasn't necessary explaining in detail, or even at all, to be believed." Whatever she may have meant by this, it doesn't do anything to clear the waters she muddied in relation to Daniel, especially since it's an edit to a description of an unlisted video. Yeah, this is something that's kind of obvious. The way that Lex's video blew up, right? And at this point, you know, it's pretty safe to say that the intention was for the video to blow up. Lex has claimed that wasn't the intention, but of course, at least with NickisnotGreen and Lex's own boyfriend, Ethan, those two would have known that Nick making a video dedicated to this subject would make her video blow up. And according to Nick, Lex was aware that Nick was going to cover the video before she released hers.
When Lex was preparing her story, I was given permission by her to cover it. It was never something that I suggested to Lex, but when she mentioned it, I decided to share her story because she's a friend of mine.
Whereas in the aftermath, or after, you know, Matt and Ryan's responses, Lex has been fairly elusive, appearing on a few live streams, but not really, you know, saying anything very publicly about this. Anyway, back to Ryan's post. Ethan has gone quiet on talking about the situation since our responses, while Leighton has gone quiet altogether. Nick was, and still is, the only one of them to publicly address things after the release of our videos. Also covered that on the channel. In Nick's update, he doesn't take responsibility for how wrong it was to specifically use Daniel in his original video, which garnered over 700,000 views. He instead dedicates about 20 seconds of his hour and 5-minute upload to say he thinks he made a bit of a mistake when including other stories, mentioning how he believed it was context that he personally thought was important and necessary for the story.
But I do want to reflect on my original video and say that I do think I made a bit of a mistake, including Mork Pie and Leighton's stories in that particular video. I wanted my video only to be about Lex's story, and I got caught up in context that I personally thought was important and necessary for the story, but I really should have only touched on Lex's video from the start and what happened with her and Don and Matt and Ryan specifically, since that was my goal in the beginning of the video.
This is where Ryan basically goes in on Nick, which for me honestly is cathartic, because the more I've been learning about Nick, this actually is a bit of a pattern of behavior from Nick, as far as I can tell. And so to hear firsthand how his very negligent covering of situations can lead to someone's mental health being negatively affected, to me, yeah, I mean, it just confirms a lot of my suspicions. And it reaffirms to me that, yeah, if you're gonna cover allegations, you should be fucking careful. But instead of being careful, Nick opted into jumping on the canceling wave. He legitimately tried to contribute to canceling SuperMega. Despite him claiming that his prime goal was to support his friend Lex, in effect, he completely failed to do so.
And then finally, he mainly talks about Leighton's comments. Once again, Leighton made a lot of comments about the way that Ryan and Matt treated their own friend and he makes it very clear that this is unequivocally untrue and that neither of them would ever make comments about this. It definitely was something that both of them focused on in the video that really upset them, and I do think that those constant comments about that definitely made it harder for people to fully hear everyone's stories. And I think that's what is so frustrating for so many people in this story, is that it feels like there were a lot of little things that kind of built up, and because they were able to dismantle and give more understanding to a couple of those things, I feel like we kind of massively overshadowed a lot of what Lex was saying in the original video.
And whose fault is that, Nick? And so here's what Ryan has to say about his coverage. What logical leap must one make to think my friend, who has been gone for over 8 years now, is in any way context to Lex's story of assault? Nick gave a spotlight to the things said about Daniel, not because he thought it added context to the story, but because it helped his thesis of SuperMega is filled with horrible people. This was intentional hurt smuggled in under the guise of providing context. Again, if I'm going to insert my opinion, I agree with this appraisal, that was Nick's intent with including that. And this intent could be corroborated by this image, which was allegedly posted by Nick shortly before he uploaded his video, called SuperMega are full of horrible people. This picture was posted a couple times to Reddit, with people claiming that he posted it to his Instagram story before quickly deleting it. Keep in mind, this is not confirmed 100% to be real. However, if you do have proof of that, please join my Discord, reach out to me, okay? If you have a screenshot, anything, please let me know, okay? I'm very interested in knowing if that's real, because to me, that makes the intent fairly obvious. Now, back to Ryan. When you shoot and edit a video, you get to choose what you want to keep in and what you want to leave out. You have full control over what you say. So why was Daniel edited in? Why bring him into this and perpetuate that I was indifferent to his suicide when I have not once opened up about Daniel to any of these people? It's funny too, because in their accounts, it's really only referenced that Matt is the one, making specific jokes about Daniel. But then Ryan just gets kind of lumped in as though he's totally complicit or whatever. And of course, none of this is even, proven or known. But yeah, even according to their own accounts, lumping in Ryan is pretty fucking callous. It's awful, to be honest. Nick, Lex, Leighton, and Ethan weaponized my best friend's suicide against me, the person who found him. As a result, there have been comments perpetuating these lies on a video where I'm commemorating Daniel on our old channel, Syndigo, accusing my grief of being fake. Additionally, Daniel's social media posts have been targeted as well. Daniel is no longer with us, therefore doesn't have a voice to speak up. He can't mute, block, or delete harassing or hurtful messages. This situation has tainted his online memorial for me, as people comment as if they knew our friendship based solely on the lies perpetuated by individuals that never even knew him. What was once a time capsule of my best friend that I could look back on has now become a place that fills me with anxiety. I can't simply scroll through new comments and see people remembering him without also seeing these baseless accusations mixed in. It's just disrespectful. If anyone has anything to say, I wish they wouldn't do so by marring the social media pages of someone who can no longer speak for themselves. In relation to the jokes told about Daniel, humor is how I and many others handle trauma. It gives us some sort of control over it. Any jokes told were in the vein of pretending to forget how to pronounce Syndigo, or jokingly lamenting how 7-second challenge featuring Markiplier Part 2 never came out. All this to say that unless someone wanted to purposely misconstrue times I have brought up Daniel, there's never been a moment where I or Matt have expressed callous ambivalence to his suicide. I'm not asking for these people to be harassed or bullied. Neither am I. I only ask them what they asked of Matt and myself, to take accountability. Needlessly bringing Daniel into a conversation that had nothing to do with him, only to use him as a malicious tool, is low. Yeah. I'm really glad he's not mincing his words, bro, because it's exactly that's exactly what they did. They literally weaponized that experience. And whether it came from Leighton making these claims to his friends still doesn't change the fact, you should have discretion about these things, I would imagine. Anyway. None of these people cared about Daniel. They only cared about what damage they could cause with his name. The whole reason this situation began was because traumas weren't felt to have been taken seriously. And now I'm left confused and angered that this same group of people would then deliberately attack my most sensitive trauma and use my friend's suicide to smear both Matt and I. It's easy for them to spread the sentiment they didn't care about Daniel, a my word versus their word spin out of thin air. But they didn't have to endure the actual hardships that came with Daniel's passing. They weren't the ones who found him. They weren't the ones who waited in purgatory at the hospital. They weren't a part of the community that grieved his loss and continues to celebrate his life. There's an entire history that they get to neglect for the benefit of adding poison to the well. Daniel was an amazing, talented dude with skill sets far beyond his years. He was more than just a talent to so many people because on top of his accomplishments stood a creatively funny, contemplative, and unique friend. I remember many nights where Daniel would throw coins at my bedroom window until he got my attention, so we could go on late night drives to smoke cigarettes and belt out whatever song we felt like singing while booking it down a barren South Carolina highway. I will forever miss Daniel being in my passenger seat. Thank you to everyone who took the time to read this, regardless of where you stand. I feel like I had to at least say something since these statements haven't been retracted and continue to cause harm. Large platforms were used to spread this misinformation, and unfortunately, some of the sentiments left behind are written in ink. God damn. Alright. Provides a resource if you're struggling with suicide. So I feel like that honestly stands pretty well alone. I feel like I don't need to really add much to that. That's real, man. That's real. You know, it's fucked up. All right, so NickisnotGreen has responded, and this is what he had to say. People will do or say anything to defend people who cover up rape and continue to be friends with rapists. Just food for thought before you mindlessly and endlessly fight for someone you don't know. Sometimes you wonder why people don't stand up for or stay quiet about sexual assault victims. And it's because it results in thousands of people calling them liars and harassing them off the internet for any reason they can find. It happens every single time. You guys should shut the fuck up and think about why none of their friends or peers stand up for them or back them up on any of this shit. It's embarrassing. Go get a job and stop being obsessed losers. If your favorite content creator wants to be uncancelled, they should make a video and stop whining about their own actions catching up to them. Whew. I don't know why, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised this is his response. Because like Nick has not given any indication that he really has any remorse or accountability or care really for the truth and the really shitty job he did reporting. But he is right about the fact that like anytime a victim comes out, they will be extremely aggressively examined. And I do agree with people who say like, oh, you'll never have a perfect victim. But you are not a victim, Nick, okay? You're a reporter. You were reporting on a victim's story. And unfortunately, a lot of the blowback is because of your dog shit reporting.
This isn't like an online, like normal thing where I look at all the facts and I make a decision. No. My friend was assaulted and never felt like she was able to be heard. And obviously, I believe her word.
Alright bro, but that shouldn't be a reason to uncritically accept the words of people you don't know. And to me, if my friend were in a situation like this, the facts would be exactly what I am prioritizing, in order to best represent what happened to them. Specifically with this Daniel situation though, while we will, I guess, have to wait and see what the other parties have to say. It does seem to me like lumping in Ryan as being callous about Daniel just was flagrant. It was just convenient, and showing literally zero remorse for the post that we just read speaks to a level of callousness on Nick's end that you just would not expect from someone who fronts as being so empathetic. It actually, to me, speaks to a deep level of cynicism and cowardice and cements to me the fact that Nick really has convinced himself that he can do no wrong effectively. As Ryan referenced, in an hour and 5-minute video, taking 20 seconds to say that he messed some stuff up, seemingly not even being willing to unlist the video when Lex herself has already unlisted her own video saying she doesn't want it to get more attention. This is not a good guy, bro. Like, just, you know, in my opinion, something is up with this man. And I'm not gonna claim to be the greatest guy, but, you know, takes one to know one, I guess. Here's Nick saying, "I love you, SuperMega," at Creator Clash in 2022. Here's Nick asking to work with SuperMega in 2021. Here's Ethan saying that they should get NickisnotGreen on their show in 2022. Again, this is a reference to one of NickisnotGreen's channels. This is Ethan is online in 2020 wearing a SuperMega shirt. He probably was a fan. That is corroborated by all of these messages. And then here's Nick, allegedly shortly before releasing his video on SuperMega, calling them horrible people. Anyway, just because you're a fan of somebody doesn't mean that you owe them the best graces. But yeah, it does to me speak to a kind of callousness, a true honest callousness, where apparently these guys were familiar in real life. They were friendly at the very least, if not, you know, Nick and Ethan being fans or admirers. And yet they really did not give them any benefit of the doubt at all. Like, specifically with Daniel, I feel like you've got to have insane hubris to think that's even worth including. Look, I really genuinely don't know if these people just smoke too much weed and they just don't really think very hard about anything. I guess they do. It's pretty obvious to me that NickisnotGreen's critical thinking skills are burnt, to say the least. I'm not sure if they were ever present, but yeah. Alright, so if we take a look at Syndigo's channel, after this situation initially broke out, there was a lot of people kind of berating it. Like, this is hysteria. You gotta be careful when you're online, man. A lot of angry people will take up any cause, make themselves feel superior, fully convincing themselves like they believe it, that they're doing the right thing. So just be conscious of that. From both angles of this situation, I've seen clear evidence of that. This is Nick's reaction to the wave of criticism that he received for his coverage of this situation. He asked, "What should I yap about today on Green is Not Nick?" Fan then asked, "Have you seen what's going on in your Reddit? Why are people so mad?" Nick said, "A certain Debate Bros fan base has their aims on me for a few weeks. They will move on to their next target in like a month. The same people who tried getting people banned for saying cracker." So in that case, he's referring to Destiny, who again, Turkey Tom kind of put on to this situation, and Destiny had very choice words to say about Nick. Nick continues, "Genuinely the most mindless zombies you'll find on the internet." So basically, this is just to demonstrate that he was writing off all the criticism effectively as debate bro, dorks, whatever you want to say. Even using in a specific video, saying that explicitly.
And welcome back to the drama. Today I'm wearing my scary shirt to make me look a lot more scary. There's too many Reddit debate bro dorks on this website trying to come after me every single day. So I thought I'd show them a little bit of what I'm made of. You know, do I look scary?
So just to update you guys about, you know, kind of more extraneous aspects of this situation, just in case you care. Obviously, when this situation first went down, Matt and Ryan released their responses. They basically said that they either don't know, and then Ryan was basically implying like, "I'm done with SuperMega. This is my last video."
I have obviously been irresponsible with the platform I was given, so as it stands, I don't deserve one.
Now it seems like that probably is not the case. There's been a lot of rumblings, a lot of grumblings about a SuperMega return potentially coming, and so I'll show you some evidence for that. This is something that was sent to me by BedHeadBernie, showing an Instagram post from Ben that was deleted.
Like the mailroom setup essentially, but we would shoot a lot more in the mailroom there. What are you doing in the other room? Podcast, and the other one we might.
From what I understand, they're, you know, talking business is like the vibe. They said we're gonna shoot a lot more of the mailroom there. They seemingly are, you know, closing the doors to the SuperMegaplex. as based on this post. Farewell Super Megaplex. We've turned the lights off and locked the doors for the last time at the house we've called the Super Megaplex for the last 4 years. Truly the end of an era. Thanks for the love, friends. Yeah, so I'm not sure if they're moving into a new office. Not sure what exactly their plan is, but it does seem like, you know, something might come in the near future. Thanks again to BedHeadBernie for, you know, unearthing a decent amount of this information. Bernie is collaborating with Turkey Tom as we speak to make a very extensive, very thorough video on this whole situation, which I'm personally interested in watching, and so keep an eye out for that. I think it'll be on Turkey Tom's channel relatively soon. And yeah, now I'd just like to just show you some random details that have been unearthed or that are just interesting to look at. So, you know, there's obviously the famous Magnum Opus. This is a goated image by a disgruntled Super Mega fan at the start of this controversy. Look at that. Legend. There's this video, which I think this woman or girl or whatever has taken down. I don't know, I just thought this was a funny video, so yeah, here you go. And so yeah, that really just leaves us feeling just gross. Really, this whole situation, I think every time I cover it, yeah, I just leave feeling gross. But you know, life goes on, hopefully, for all of us. And yeah, I'm now gonna plug my merch, which is probably awful for me to do, but I just, you know, I'm trying to make rent this month, so, you know, excuse me this one time, all right? I'll do it again. I will definitely do it again. I am proud of the merch, so, you know, you can judge me however you'd like, but yeah. You can go to gokamerch.com and pick up the Memento Mori shirt. I think it looks pretty good. I'm wearing a large. We've got a bunch of fun stuff there, and the prices are, in my opinion, the most reasonable you'll find on YouTube. Shirts aren't your thing? Subscribe to my Patreon, bro, okay? I've got five Gokanaru main channel videos. Not Clips channel, not where you're watching right now. Main channel videos available on my Patreon right now, along with a lot of other fun stuff. So those are the best ways to support me. I absolutely appreciate all of you who watch my stuff. Yeah, I don't know, this situation definitely makes me a little bit introspective, but yeah, I'm just gonna focus on delivering you the juice. I'm gonna take a little break from the Clips channel and keep an eye on my main channel because I am about to drop some heat. We're gonna have a lot of fun, okay? So thanks again. Remember, take care of yourself and the people around you, and most importantly, give your mother a hug.